no matter what injury you had. Physical therapy works with kids, pediatrics, with adults, with injuries, with sports, like you said, ergonomics, with even with geriatric population. Basically,
Mm,
any kind of even pregnancy needs it. Even if you had just hypertension,
yeah.
there are physical therapy protocols for that too. So it basically covers up everything.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another podcast. We are going to talk about physical therapists, career in physical therapy as a physical therapist in United States. We have wonderful guest Dolly with us. She was so kind enough to kind of reach out to me, and then we're going to talk about her journey and how can you become a physical therapist. Also, I didn't know that it wasn't a STEM course, but you can convert it into a STEM course. What are the career options, visa options, etc. So I'm so excited to kind of share this with all of you. Dolly, welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to share your journey.
Thank you, Yudi.
Let's do a quick intro for people who don't know, like where are you from, what do you do right now, and the fun stuff about you.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Dolly Patel. I'm a physical therapist in United States, particularly in New York, right now. And as all of you, I'm a huge fan of Yudi, and he really helped me transition from India to US. And really excited to record this and help you guys out.
Yeah, and there was like fun fact when we first talked. You told me that you are also from Borivali. You are also Guju.
Oh yes, yes, of course. I'm from
So
Borivali East,
yeah, yeah.
so
Don't give like whole address. Everybody will start coming to your home.
I don't live there anymore. I'm good.
Nice. So yeah, no, let's talk about physical therapists. Like, I know you're
Sure.
actually practicing as a physical therapist in like as a doctor, right? Like people come to you to
Yes.
get physical therapy.
Yes.
That
Yes.
is
Yeah.
so awesome. Is it like a fun job for you? Like, do you like having
Oh,
patients and
yes,
all that?
yes, yes. I love it. So, for those of you who don't know it, physical therapy is an allied medical science where we basically believe that movement is medicine. So, whatever impairments you have, it could be pre surgical, post surgical, and athletic injury, or just a regular ache and pain that all of us have, right? It's basically treating those ailments through movement and exercise, which I believe is the best form of therapy that you can give yourself because it's sustained, it's something that you do, and it has lifelong effects. Basically improves the quality of life that you have. So it's something I'm really really passionate about.
I can see the passion because as soon as I asked you about it, you like you started going on it. So I know, and I was like, this is for audience behind the scene. They don't get to see it, but when we were talking about like, oh, what we're gonna talk about, and I was telling her like, oh, don't worry, I'm not gonna ask you like technical questions. It's like, oh, ask me any technical questions. I'm like pro at it. So I was like, okay, but I have an incident to share. So I have a slip disc, which is like a back issue, and when I actually first discovered it, doctors told me to get surgery. So luckily I did not. And then second was they told me to have like almost 1 year of bed rest, and I didn't realize that was bad. And then luckily I found a physical therapist and a yoga teacher. They told me that you are doing it wrong. This was after 6 months of bed rest. I still did not cure it. So then the physical therapist, they started giving me some exercises, and now obviously it's gone and I'm like able to walk and do everything I can.
Wow.
So it's
Being so happy for you. Thank
so
you.
what did you do? Like, what do you have to study in India? Like, what did you study as a bachelor's?
So we have a bachelor's in physical therapy degree. This is just like you have bachelor's of technology, bachelor's in engineering. This is a
Okay.
different bachelor's field which you take after your 12th boards. You select biology in your, after your 10th, and you give the NEET, the National Eligibility Test for Medical Professions, or the CET, the Common Entrance Test with biology. And then you give it, you get a specific score, and then you take admission in a physical therapy college.
And then is it 4 years, just like in
It's a
engineering?
4.5 year course. So basically, here we study a combination of all the subjects from medicine, surgery, anatomy, physiology. Basically, this we actually study from the same textbook that MBBS students study from. Same surgery
Okay.
topics as MBBS students study from, and a lot of different physical therapy topics, core physical therapy topics as well for 4 years. And then we have a 6 months of compulsory internship where we rotate between different clinical setups, hospital setting, clinic setting, different neurological, different musculoskeletal, orthopedic, different kind of setups, pediatrics, the various branches of physical therapy, to have an idea about how everything works, which basically helps us to know what really we want to specialize in. So it's a four and four
Hmm.
4 years and 6 months course.
Wow. All the fancy words which you said, I have no idea what that means, but sounds like fun stuff. So did you,
It is.
after 6 months of your mandatory internship slash practice, did you do any other work, or did you like after that you decided like you want to come here for masters?
Not really. I mean, after I did the 6 months of internship, it had me realize that I was more interested in orthopedic, physical therapy, and a little bit more in sports. But I wanted to gain some experience, have to have on field experience, clinical experience before I decide to do what I really want to study further in. So I worked in an outpatient setting in Mumbai for 2 years before I decided that, this is what I want to do my master's in, and where
Hmm.
I'd want to go as a physical therapist, and why do I want to work in this particular country. So yeah.
Got it. Okay. So obviously you were working, getting experience. At some point, you decided like, okay, this is now is the time where I want to go the next level, get the masters. Why did you
Yeah.
decide to do that, or like what was the reason behind it? Of course, I understand that you were passionate, but like, what drove you
Yeah.
to come to United States?
um so when I was working in this clinic, my patients would get better, but then a lot of times I was stuck in a particular clinical case or a particular type of injury, or I wouldn't know why is a patient getting better. I was not really able to figure out the whys and hows of certain cases. And that's when I realized maybe the education that I have is not enough. Maybe I need to go above and beyond to know what is really happening outside of where I'm working, what is really the recent advances, what is the real, the evidence based practice today, why would my patients not get better quickly, to basically
Hmm.
need to figure out that so I could be a better clinician in the future.
Hmm.
And that's why I decided to do my masters here.
Got it. Okay. Obviously, there's not a lot of content. I think this might be our first video. I mean, you are definitely my first content on anything related to medical field on my channel. So, how like were you scared because there's like literally nobody talking about doing masters in like what was your major? Is it like physical therapy or was it different?
It so honestly, when I realized that I wanted to study further, I, like you said, there's not a lot of content out there, and I wasn't sure about if I should come to US. But I knew I wanted to come to US because I've seen a lot of physical therapists here in the US, and they way they work, the technology here, and more often in US it's a license based profession, which means whatever you do is regulated by the American Association of Physical Therapy, which was very cool because they were very
Hmm.
research oriented. They had CSM events where they discuss researches, and I was really very excited about all of that. But I didn't know how do I go there because, as for engineers, your science, technology, engineering, mathematics comes under STEM program, but health,
Right.
like because physical therapy is a medical profession, it does not really come under that. Which means if I
The STEM
decided to do my
program.
masters in physical therapy or a doctorate in physical therapy, I wouldn't be eligible for the STEM OPT extension. And as an international student, that is important, right? You want to work, you want to
Yeah.
go on that STEM OPT and have
Yeah.
experience in the United States. So what I found out was, in kinesiology is basically an integral portion of physical therapy. It's like a
Yeah.
subject which deals with the biomechanical assessment of how a human body works and how can you
Mm.
work on it to treat patients. So it's one of the subjects that I studied in physical therapy, and it's also one of the tools that I used to treat and assess my patients when I was working in my clinic. So I found this really cool program called Masters of Science in Kinesiology, and it also involved exercise physiology, athletic contents about athletic training, which were very much related to physical therapy. but more about orthopedic and sports physical therapy, which I was really passionate about. And
Hmm.
as I said, it's a Master of Science program, which means it also comes under the STEM category. So
Oh,
that's why I
gotcha.
decided to
Okay.
do it. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Cool. So for us, when for computer science, project management, product management, it's very simple. We do GRE, TOEFL, IELTS. We do our application, we apply, and then we get admits, and then we come here. Is it same for you in terms of like
Yes, yes.
kinesiology? Okay,
Yes,
you give.
all of that remains the same. Yes, so you give GRE, you give an English proficiency exam, then you apply to the universities, you have your SOP, you have letter of recommendation, you apply through it. Once you receive it, then you have the visa interview. All that process remains the same because it's like any other master's degree.
Okay, so there's like no other entrance exam you have to give for specifically for kinesiology or like medical field.
For kinesiology, no, because this is masters in kinesiology. Now, say you complete your masters in kinesiology, that does not make you eligible to work as a physical therapist in the United
Right.
States. If
Yeah.
you want to work as a physical therapist, there is a whole different procedure for that. So if
I
you
know
want to
we're gonna
work,
talk
do what
about
I
that
do,
too, right?
yeah,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
different. Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna touch on that as well. So let's talk about obviously you came here. What was your? Do you remember your GRE score, TOEFL, IELTS?
So yes, so I fortunately, because I came in spring 21, because of COVID and GRE was waived, so I did not have to give GRE, and I was more than
Nice.
happy to, because I'm a medical student, right? I love bio, and I hate maths, and maths hate me. We have a mutual hatred towards each other, so I was scared to give that, but I didn't have to, and but I had to give the English proficiency exam, so I gave IELTS, and I got 8 or 9
Hmm.
bands, so I was approved,
Nice. That's
for
pretty
that.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was. Did you give like so spring 2021? So when did you graduate?
Like from my masters.
Yeah, from your masters.
I graduate this August. I will graduate next month.
Oh, you are gonna graduate. I thought you.
Yes.
Sorry, I always. I thought
No.
that you were already graduated because you said you're already working. Okay, so I'm gonna break it down later on. But okay, so you picked a university. Which university did you pick? Like, did you have multiple
uh,
admits or?
yes, no. So I applied in 3 universities, I guess. I only applied to courses, like I said, which had a STEM in the
Oh
course
yeah,
that I wanted to
yeah.
study, which is not a lot of options like you have in engineering. It's very limited. Like very limited universities have this course, and very handpicked of them have that STEM. So I studied in Dallas Baptist University. Which is in Dallas, Texas. There was this other university that I applied to, which was Long Island University here in New York, and there was this other university, University of Houston Clear Lake, which was in Houston, Texas. So I applied to
Hmm.
3 of them. I got admits from all 3 of them, but then I decided to go with Dallas Baptist University.
Okay, cool. I know one of the things you mentioned offline, off camera, that universities for at least don't matter in terms of getting a job as a physical therapist. Is that true statement?
Uh, Honestly, yes, because you need to understand this thing that you are not really working as a kinesiologist or an exercise physiologist, right? If you want to work as them, which is a very cool profession to work into, then definitely your scores in your masters matter, the university matters, everything matters. Just like you guys, you do bachelors in computers, and then you work in the
Yeah,
same field that you do your masters in, so it matters. But for
yeah.
us, this I'm working as a physical therapist, which is a connected but still a different profession than what I did my masters in. So the
Hmm.
university that you go to, how much did you score in that, does not matter, does not really define how you are as a physical therapist. So
Hmm.
that is different. Yes.
Got it. Okay. What was your F1 visa interview like? Like, did you have fun visa interview experience
I
or?
actually had a very fun visa interview. So I was one of the first persons to be interviewed that day, and my Dallas Baptist University is not as well known as the University of
Yeah,
Texas, or
yeah.
other than that. So my visa interview, she looked at my score, she looked at my IELTS score, and then she was like, "You want to go to this university?" She was like really taken aback, and she asked. My interview was like 20 minutes long, where she asked me literally, "Why do
20
you want to just
minutes?
go to this?" 20 minutes, I'm not lying. Like, she literally asked me
Wow.
questions like, where had I gone in India, like which states have you roamed in India, which clinic did you work in, what is the address of the clinic that you work in, why do you want to go to US, stuff like I didn't even have an idea about. She basically
Yeah.
thought that I'm probably just lying about everything, and she reconfirmed. I told the address of the clinic I was working in, and she googled in front of me, and I was like, okay,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. So that was an intense 20 minute is a long interview.
it
But
was,
then
it
obviously
really
you
was.
you made it. You made it here. How
Yeah.
was studying in United States? What was your master's experience like? Was it fun?
uh,
Is it
it
different than
was.
Indian education?
Oh, definitely, definitely. I mean, masters here, I believed, especially in kinesiology, was a lot more research, a lot more practical application. It was a lot of assignments which involved you being on the field and knowing things rather than just reading from the books and just going on online to find options. So our program advisor, he was this really knowledgeable, really kind professional who made us through. He kind of knew that I was a physical therapist and I'm learning this course to help me work as a better clinician as a physical therapist. So he made sure that he combined both of the professions. He really gave me examples as a clinician, how would I go about it, and which is why I really endorse Dallas Baptist University for all PTs out there. It's really, really, really good university to go to.
Yeah, this video is not sponsored by them, but
Yes,
Dallas
it's
Baptist
not.
University, if you want to send some check, please, I'll gladly accept it. But anyway, so I know I remember a couple of students from kinesiology in my so Chico State has I think when I did my master's. I think
Hmm.
their assignment was to give us like help us with it. So they do this volunteer events, or that was their event assignments. They would go to the gym and then they would help students with some of the movements. And so, is that something like
Oh,
that you
like,
have to do?
oh, yes, yes, yes. So basically, because kinesiology means about how you move. So say when you're walking, how much angle would you bend your knee? What really happens if you do not bend your knee to that particular angle? You put a lot of pressure on your foot. What happens if you put pressure on your foot? Then you screw up your hip. If you mess with the angle of hip, then what happens to your back? It's basically connecting the different angulations, the torques
Okay.
that the muscles work in, and stuff like that. So yes, our my assignments involved going to the gym, going to YMCA, going to different athletic institutions across Dallas, and then to work with people, to basically work with people who used to come there for exercise, see how was their experience, and help them out.
That is so cool. Because I think even like when people play sports, they are sore, so they would go to physical therapist, or not physical therapist, but like people who help them with their soreness so that they can be active next day
Oh,
when they're
yes,
working
yes,
on it.
yes. They would go to a
Yeah.
physical therapist, honestly, because sports physical therapy is a huge upcoming field. Like, even if the Indian cricket team has a sports physical therapist, the Indian hockey team has a sports physical therapist. Every team has a sports physical therapist. I used to intern with
Mm.
the Barcelona club of soccer players back in Mumbai, like the kids, the school. But
Yeah,
yeah, it
yeah.
was so that is different branch of physical therapy too, where they help you to improve your performance, to make sure that you give your optimum best when you are kicking the ball on the field and not really injuring your ligaments back and forth.
Yeah, yeah. So, does ergonomics come under kinesiology
Oh
and
yes,
physical therapy?
it does,
Okay.
it does, it
Am
does.
I am
Yes,
I
yes.
sitting straight like my posture? Like all of a sudden,
You are,
when
you
I was
are.
talking to you, I started like, okay, I'm like slouching, so let me just get straight.
Oh
Uh,
yes, yes, it counts.
cool. What's your fees like? Is the master's course same for you, like 2 years, or is it
Yes,
longer,
yes.
shorter? Okay,
No,
two
it was
years.
2 years. It was like a standard 2 years. But like I said, there are two parallel things to go forward with. So because I was done with the physical therapy aspect of it, so I completed my master's in 1.5 year. So which is why I graduated in
Hmm.
August of 2022. Now.
Okay. And so what's the fees for this education like?
So I could tell you my fees. For 9 months, my tuition fees was around 21,000. My I-20 was like 34,500. This is for
Bus.
a
I
year.
mean, that's it.
That is not it. That is a huge amount to pay for.
I mean, it is huge, but compared to computer science, that's like nothing because I've seen students who pay like 60,000, 70,000, $80,000.
But
So
this is for a
20.
year. Like you multiplied by two.
Acha. Oh, okay. Sorry, I
Yeah.
misunderstood. Okay, so you're saying
No worries.
for 2 years it's 40,000 or so, roughly.
Tuition fees, yes. So tuition fees goes around 40, 42, and like your with your living expenses and health insurance and stuff like that goes up to like 70,000.
Oh, okay. So now that comes under the same. Yeah. So now
That
you are
comes
on the
under the
same
same.
same. Did you do on-campus job or like did you?
Um, Not really because I had to study for my physical therapy exam and I had to work on that front. So
Hmm.
and I did not do an on-campus job initially because I had to study for my masters, do my assignments, and also study this. So I did not.
Got it. Okay. Okay. So I know now let's talk about physical therapists because you're doing masters in kinesiology, which
Yes,
has so many career options. You
it
chose to
does.
become a physical therapist, and you said something very interesting. There are two paths you were following when you were doing your masters.
Yeah.
So let's talk about those two paths, and then also talk about what is required to become a physical therapist, actually practice a physical therapist. So first, let's
Of
start with the
course.
two paths you were taking.
Yes. So the first part, like I said, is choosing your visa status here in the US. So I came on F1 visa, which is why I did my masters and have the STEM OPT extension. Basically, what we just discussed. My second path was to make sure that I become a licensed physical therapist here, so I could work as a physical therapist on my OPT. Right. So now here in US, physical therapy is a licensed profession. It's basically a regulated profession which is governed by the American Physical Therapy Association, which means that no matter from where you have studied from India, from Brazil, from Egypt, from Australia, from even from the United States itself, you have to clear a license exam, which is called as a National Physical Therapy Examination. It's NPTE. Now, NPTE, like you would imagine, it's not a very easy exam. It's like only 3% of foreign trained graduates clear that in their first attempt,
Three
and so
percent. Wow.
it's
So if 100 people are
3%,
giving
only three
exam,
percent
only three people will pass.
in their first attempt. Yes, in their first
Oh,
attempt.
in the first attempt. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
so
Got it.
first attempt, like in one go. So it's not like you say, it's not very easy to do with. But
To
to
crack
become
it.
eligible to give that exam, you have to make sure that your previous physical therapy education is kind of on par with the US standards. So say if you
Hmm.
have done a bachelor's of physical therapy, a master's, even a PhD or a doctorate in your country, you have to get it verified from an agency here in the United States. So this again, it's the procedure differs from which state do you want to get licensed in. Every state has different requirements. New York has different requirements. Texas has different requirements. California has different requirements. Now, this difference in requirements could be different courses that they want you to study, or a different kind of ethics exam, different law exam, do to kind of make sure that you are authorized enough to touch and treat a patient. So
Hmm.
I wanted to get licensed in New York State because I wanted to work here in the New York City. So first step is to reach a state board, whichever state board you want to get licensed in. But before you reach a state board, your APTA, which is your American Physical Therapy Association, has a federation of physical therapy, which is the Federation of State Board of Physical Therapists. This is a federation that conducts your national physical therapy examination, and they basically make sure that you get your license, that you want to need to work as a physical therapist.
Hmm.
Now, this federation has certain agencies that they have approved to kind of help you with this whole procedure. So the agency that I gone through was FCCPT. It's Foreign Credentialing Commission on Physical Therapy. So this is your first step. Okay, you go to the Foreign Credentialing Commission of Physical Therapy, and you give in your documents. You tell that you did your bachelor's from this state, from this university. Pay them the fees to verify that for you, and then they would contact your university, kind of
Hmm.
make sure what you're saying is legit. You give your graduation certificate, your internship completion certificate, your mark sheets, your transcripts, all of the
Hmm.
documents. Once they so I started this procedure in September of 2020, like before I was coming to United States, because they take like 3 to
Hmm.
4 months to verify it for you. After they have done it, then they go to the state that they wanted to go for.
Oh, so
So I
you started this before even you came to
before
United States.
yes,
So
yes.
how did you find out about this, that you had to do
uh,
a
like
lot of
so
research?
basically a lot of research, yes. And I also came across this very good agency which is called as a foreign academic credentialing tool service. So it's basically an organization by foreign trained physical therapists for foreign trained physical therapists, where they help me to have a stepwise approach on how should I start with, where should I go with, everything like that. So I would recommend, because it's really different from every state. It differs for your visa status. This procedure really differs. So if you go to them, it's called as fax pt. You go to them
Now,
and they
I
would
think
let you know
now
what
people
exactly you
will
want to
just
do.
come to you.
Oh yes, I'm more than happy to. I have done that struggle and I know what it feels like, and I would be more than
Yeah.
happy to help anyone I could.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, sorry, I stopped you. So obviously you
Yeah.
went to this agency, they validated your credential of all the education you have done so far for physical therapist and your work experience.
Yes.
And after they have done it, what happens after that?
So after they have done it, you go and approach the state that you want to work in. So I approached the New York State Education Department. Like you go on their
Why
website,
New
you let
York?
them know that because New York City is very much like Mumbai. It's where I grew up in. So
Got it. Okay.
I
Okay.
I wasn't sure if I'll be like the temperature, the vibe, the city life. Like
What about
basically.
snow
So
though? Like, do you like the snow?
compared to Texas heat, yes, because I studied in Texas. I was in Dallas doing my masters. Compared to the
Yeah.
scorching heat wave that used to have in Texas, I would be okay with the snow that we have
No.
here in New York.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, you
Yeah.
chose New York State to get your physical
Yeah.
therapy license. So then what?
Then you let them know that you already submitted your documents to this agency, and then you pay them a certain amount. So then they go to that agency, make sure that you did it, they verify it for you, and let you know if they need anything else from you. Now this procedure takes about 4 to 5 months again. So, and this
Hmm.
could vary. I've known people where it took more than 12 months too. So this really depends how long it takes. Once they give you a green signal, that you are good to go, this is when now you contact the FSBPT, the Federation of State Boards, and let them know that you're good to go from their end. And they would again make sure to connect with the state that you applied with to make sure that you are saying true, because they don't trust you. So once they do that, then you make your account with them, you pay them the examination fee, book a metric center, and give your exam.
Wow, that is such a long process. I mean, it's a lot, it's a struggle and a long process. Okay,
It
so you give
is.
an exam. Obviously, that's just to get an exam. So you give an
Yes,
exam
yes,
and you have to clear the exam, obviously. Um,
yes. So that is
and
the biggest hassle. The biggest hassle is not all of these. Masters is okay, the documentation is okay. The biggest hassle is how to like get done with the NPTE. So I joined an online prep program which was by Zoom, called NPTE Final Frontier, where they gave me all the lectures that I needed to bridge that gap.
mm,
They gave me all the
mm,
notes that I need, what reference books should I study, what should I study from where, what kind of questions, gave me mock exams, gave me practice exams, and all of these things to kind of prepare me for the most difficult exam of my life. And with their help, honestly, I could get done with it on the first try. So go
mm.
NPT Final
The
Frontier.
the interesting part to me is it's only so you came in spring 2021, which is like a year and a half ago,
Yes.
right? And within that time frame, you probably did all this research before coming to United States, is my guess,
Yes. Yes.
and and you were like so focused. I mean, this is a compliment. Like you were so focused because
Thank
you
you.
had to do all this before graduate so that you have your physical therapist license and you can
Yes.
practice it. So I mean, it's commendable. I'm so impressed that how
Thank
much you have
you.
accomplished in a year and a half. I mean, it's not easy, like the struggle you have gone through, because you probably didn't live
Yeah.
your I mean, you didn't really live your master's experience as well because you were so focused on doing all this.
I honestly didn't. I would, I would. I mean, I didn't because I had to choose between, like, because I've known people who gave this exam for 5, 6, 7 times and couldn't get through. And I was very clear that I wanted to get done with it on my first try. And so I came here in January of 2021. And like I said, my program advisor at Dallas Baptist University also helped me plan my courses, in a way that I took the more difficult ones in my first semester. So, because then
Hmm.
I had just started preparing for my license exam. And then I took two
Hmm.
courses in the summer too, to kind of make sure that I'm still in the par. I took the easier subjects in my second semester, which was fall of 2021, because I planned to give my exam in October of 2021. And
Yeah, so smart.
fortunately enough, this kind of helped, and I could clear my exam then, and then I could go to India in December, December of 21 for my spring break,
With
guilt free. Yes.
so let's what if you didn't choose the path of physical therapy? Then what are some of the career options you would have normally chosen if not physical therapy?
Like after doing masters in kinesiology here in US. Uh,
Yeah.
so there is a kinesiologist is a very good profession and upcoming field. There is exercise physiologist, which deals with only the exercise part of it. Then there is research in exercise science, which is very cool too, because like we have a lot of lifestyle diseases coming up now, and a lot of diabetes, a lot of hypertension. Even people as young as me and you, have it. A lot
Yeah.
of my
Yeah.
friends have it. So exercise movement is the upcoming thing now, so which is why there are a lot of career options in it. So even if you did not want to become a physical therapist, after doing masters in kinesiology, masters in exercise science, there are a lot of career options for you that you can dive into.
Okay, got it. And is there scope and demand? Because there's one thing is like, yeah, you want to do physical therapy, you have to go through all this hassle of getting a license to actually practice as a physical therapist. But then, is there scope? Like, are there
Oh, very much
jobs
so.
and
Very much so.
demands?
Very much so. There is, so if you have a recession, anytime a US has a recession, there would be cut down of jobs. But health industry does not have a recession. Physical therapist does not have a recession here because, like I said, it's licensed, which means insurance pays for it. So basically, if you had an injury, you are paying for your health insurance compulsory in US anyways, and your doctor recommends you, or even if you decide, it's a first hand experience too, you decide to go to a physical therapist, you are not charged from your pocket. The major part the insurance covers up for it. And it's a much
Hmm.
needed, a much upgrowing profession. Rather, if you had a surgery, even if you did not have a surgery, even if you have a surgery, no matter what injury you had, physical therapy works with kids, pediatrics, with adults, with injuries, with sports, like you said, ergonomics, with even with geriatric population, basically
Hmm.
any kind of even pregnancy needs it. Even if you had just hypertension,
Yeah.
there are physical therapy protocols for that too. So it basically covers up everything.
Yeah. So, and once you get the license, is it pretty much you just walk into the clinic and say like, "Hey, I'm the licensed physical therapist. Give me a job," or is there still like an interview
Nah.
process?
No, there's still an interview process. I mean, so
Acha,
I used LinkedIn and Indeed. Like, like you give an
okay.
interview, they would want to check your clinical skills. One of the interview I had, it was in person. So I had to go to that clinic. They asked me about how would I approach a patient. So, say a patient walks to your clinic, how would you start the conversation? You need to have good people skills too, because you need the
Wow.
people to
Okay.
open up about the most dreadful, painful experience that they have. And how would
Mm,
you assess them, how would you evaluate it, how would you diagnose them, how would you treat them? Even when you treat it, your hand placement has to be comfortable enough. They should be comfortable to see you, because you are just not prescribing medicines, right? You are basically touching them and making them feel better, and doing exercise, which honestly no one really likes. Do you like to exercise? You are lazy, right? I mean, so you have to educate them really well on why is it important, why is it the best thing to do, and different stuff like
mm,
that. So once they know that your people skills are good, your hand skills are good, your technique skills are good, all of these, then you have an HR round where, like anyone else, you negotiate your salary. They tell you all about the benefits that you would receive if you work for the company, and then yes, you have your job.
mm. Got it. Okay, so it's still like it is still pretty much the same process like we go through where we have to still interview and apply and get rejection and hopefully get. So is it like but in physical therapist, because you have license, is it still a little easier, or do you still face like you have to apply to 100 and maybe one of them will get approved?
Not really. I mean, I wouldn't say it's not as much of an hassle like otherwise, because I think we're done with the hassle aspect before, right? When we got the
Right,
license,
right.
now it is not that
Yeah.
bad. Now it is actually upon you to decide what kind of a setting do you want to work in. Do you want to work in an outpatient clinic, or do you want to work in a nursing facility, or do you want to work in urgent care? Do you want to work in a hospital? Depending upon your interest, do you want to work in orthopedic, in neurology, in pediatrics, in pregnancy, in geriatrics, depending upon what do you want to work as.
And can you open your own practice or
Yes,
like a
yes, we
clinic?
can open up. We can open up your
Oh,
own. We can, but I'm not very sure based on the visa restrictions. I'm not sure about that.
okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, gotcha. Okay. This was, oh, so we didn't talk about the most important thing, money.
Money.
Do physical therapists make money? Like, what's the salary?
Of
Is it like
course.
salary range, or is it per patient fees? Like, how does the salary work? Is it pretty
No,
much
no,
the
no.
same standard?
So basically, from my experience, this really depends on which state do you want to work in. Like it'll be a little less in Texas, a little more in California. Depends on which state. Again, depends on what setting do you want to work in. Outpatient usually pays a little lesser than an urgent care or a nursing facility pays. So it depends upon what setup
Hmm.
is it, what state is it, and stuff like that. But based on my experience here in the New York City, the rates really fluctuate between say $37 an hour to $55 an hour, depending upon your experience, your expertise, again, the
And this is
setting.
full time? Are you saying full time or internship, right?
Does I mean, I have not noticed a change in that. Again, like even if I'm doing an internship, I'm not really an intern, like I'm a licensed
Yeah, you
profession,
are
I'm
like
going
a
to do the
physical.
same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that, like, I know this happens in engineers. You have different rates when you are intern and when you do full time,
Yeah.
but I have
Right.
not observed that in our profession, because if you're doing the same
And
kind of.
is it like, so once you become, is it like salaried, or you'll always be like an hourly? So you get overtime, or if you work more than 40 hours, then you get paid extra. Like, is
Oh
it,
no,
how is it
this again depends
depends
on the
from,
organization. Yeah, I mean, some
okay,
organizations prefer it per hour, some clinics prefer it salaried. So my clinic, it prefers it salaried, and some organizations
so,
prefer per hour.
and what's the
So that really
salary
depends.
range? If you have to give a range.
I know per hour it's between 37 to 55. If I would have to say, like salaried, I think this really fluctuates between 80,000. Like the starting PT makes around 80,000 here in the New York. So it goes between 80,000 to anywhere till like 110 or 120K a year.
And is it like, in computer science, I mean, in software industry, we grow, like we get promotion, and then when we switch jobs, we get more money and more money and more money. Is it same for physical therapist as well, or
Oh
like
yes,
you pretty
yes.
much
I
have to?
mean, it. No, no, it does. So like when you join, you're just like a staff physical therapist, and then you grow. You learn administrative skills. You learn the billing departments. You grow into a clinical director, and that where you are managing the clinic, and you have other PTs and assistants and aides working
Oh,
under
yeah, yeah.
you. And then after I'm a clinical director, you become a partner in the company you're working in. Then probably open up your own clinic one day.
Got it. Okay. So is that what you want to do? Is that like, do you want to
Oh
open your
yes,
clinic, or okay, yeah,
I want to,
nice.
honestly. I want to in your future. Yes.
I'll be the first customer, or I mean, not customer, patient. Sorry, not customer.
Oh,
I'll be
yeah. I
the
would
first.
just be happy if you just come to say hi. I don't want you to enjoy yourself
I
to come
will.
see
I
me.
will. Absolutely. Yes, I will. And I'll send all my friends and everybody to your clinics once you open up.
Thank you.
Like,
Yes,
yeah.
definitely.
But this was so much fun. I am so glad we did it. This might
Me
not be
too.
relevant to my prime audience, which is more technology focused, but I'm so glad we moved away and we talked about something different, interesting. I learned so much from this. So thank you for spending your time with me. I'm hoping
It was my
that
pleasure.
the future physical therapists, who are, coming who are going to
Mhm.
wanting to study physical therapy in United States, this is helpful for them. What would you say, was it worth it, and would you recommend people to come to United States to study physical therapies?
Oh, yes, yes, absolutely. I mean, I know it sounds like an hassle. It sounds like there is a lot to do, especially, if you compare with your friends doing engineering, where like they do their masters and they're good, they get internship in a fancy Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, and then they earn a lot of money, I know it's all of that, but if you have the passion for this field, it's a beautiful profession to go in, and there is a lot of demand for this too, honestly. So I would say just go for it. You should not restrict yourself from living your dream and just shine and make this world a
Yeah.
happier, moving, healthier place.
So nice, yeah. And I mean, I think physical therapists are not looking for shinier like Apple, Google, Microsoft, because they really want to help patients be able to move and
Hmm.
get rid of the pain they are going through. So they really coming from that compassion, and like they have a heart
Yeah,
for care of people. So I don't think they really, I mean, obviously they want to
absolutely.
make money, but they also have this passion for helping people to move again. So this is awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you for what you do, and thank you
Uh,
for being
no,
physical therapist and helping people
thank you.
to get their life again. So it's really, really awesome.
No, the pleasure is all mine. Thank you, Yudi. Thank you for all your videos till now. I mean, I did not really relate a lot with your technical aspect of it, but like me, if there is anyone else who's watching these videos to kind of see what do you pack when you're coming to the United States for the first time, or what not to get, how is the visa process like, and how to study for IELTS. Is it okay if you get low GRE score, and just motivation? Yudi's videos are just so much
Yeah.
fun. If you're like that and you're a physical therapist, please reach out to me, and do not be afraid. It's a beautiful, beautiful profession to work in.
Yes, absolutely. I'll send you the check for saying this last things because that was like in our
I'll
contract.
wait for it.
All right, awesome. Thank you again. All right, thank you again for doing this. Until our next one.
Keep on smiling, keep hustling.
Nice. Awesome.